Hello everybody, Pastor Randy, Shepherdslight Ministry. Just wanted to stop in and say hello. We're like almost a week into eating food now. We got 2 more days and it'll be a week. I'm still not eating fully. Most of you probably are. You can be by now, but I'm taking my time. I found the longer I take, the better it is for me. So I'm taking my time. I hope you all are enjoying your food. I'm really enjoying fruits and vegetables too. I can't get enough of the fruits and vegetables. Anyhow, enough the fast. It's Monday. We do have women's tonight. I worked out. I'm like hammering you guys to stay physically fit. And since I won't be here tonight, I did actually work out today. So there. Make sure you guys work out without me. Hello, everybody. Pastor Randy, just checking in, see how everyone's doing since the fast. We've had some testimonies. We got another one coming. I can't wait. The harvest was reaped because of that fast, and some other things. It's because this person sows also. I can't stand you. Why are you eating those chemicals?
I don't know. I'm hungry.
Hello, everybody. Pastor Randy here. I'm just checking in. We're almost like a week after the fast. Yay. Most of you are eating everything. I'm not. I'm taking my time. I found the longer I take, the better it is for me because my stomach stays like kind of shrunk and then I don't eat as much. So it just helps me with portion sizes. Do as you will. I'm just taking my time and enjoying fruits and vegetables, and that's basically all I had. We are eating some chicken tonight though, so bok, I can't wait. And then I'm gonna make some soup, which is like a 4-day process. Maybe I'll do a video on it with part of homesteading. Maybe I'll take clips as I make it. We'll see. We'll see what I'm gonna do with that. But as for right now, we do have a testimony coming this week. Tomorrow we're gonna tape it real quick, and actually the person that did this didn't just fast and pray, but they gave too, and they give their time. They give their times, and they're so amazing about it because as soon as they get paid, they're like, here. As soon as they get any money, they're like, here, this is for God, this is for God, this is for God. Right off the bat, 10%. They don't even let it go anywhere else. They don't give it the option, which is awesome because that's how we all should be. And they did. Someone got saved, and that's one of the teachings we did was if you pray, fast, and give, salvation comes. And guess what? It came. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to share the story. We actually have 2 testimonies this week, and that's one of them. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I want to touch on sowing and reaping and harvesting and stewardship and all that good stuff just a little bit today. Because we have a budgeting and stewardship coming up. And I want to give you guys just I'm going to go over a little brief teaching today just so you get an idea of biblically how like the Bible talks about money and stewardship and how we are to be good stewards, and that this is what you're going to get out of some of what you're going to get out of it when you come at the end of February to join our class for budgeting and stewardship, which honestly I will say falls into the lines of homesteading because you got to be budgeted and self-sufficient, and that's part of it. So it's all go together. They all go together with us. We're going to be healthy this year, physically, spiritually, and financially, right? Those are our 3 goals for the church. And we're going to see fruit. And those are the goals that I felt put into you guys, because everything else falls into place. And if you got those 3 down, you got a lot down, and you're going to, no matter what you face, like you're going to be okay. So today I'm just going to touch on that a little bit, and I'm going to read from Ecclesiastes 11:6, just one verse. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle. Pray, give praise, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. So it's like, I was actually reading one of Pastor Rodney's books, and when I looked at this, it says like sow your seed in the morning. I always looked at it like, okay, get up, give your first little bit to God, pray before you get out of bed, read your word, and I do all that. But he looks at it as like we are all day, and I mean, this makes sense. Both of them actually make sense. So if you start your day in the word, because it's something I've been taking a hammer to you guys to be in your word. So if you start your day reading your Bible and praying, and then you do the rest of how Pastor Rodney says, is his view on it is we should be looking all day at how we could be a blessing for others. Like every waking moment, from morning to night, we should be like, oh God, how can I bless someone? What can I do today to be a blessing to others? And how can we help others? So, I mean, that's from like morning to night, every day that we should be doing that. And I always looked at it as like we should be starting our day with him and ending our day with him, but we should also be like working really hard and putting into it and putting our effort into it, and just being an example, because it says in the Bible a couple things about work. One, we should work as if we're working for Jesus, and another one is in 2 Thessalonians 3:10 is man shall not eat if man does not work. So we should not be relying on other people or the government. We should be relying on ourselves. We should be working hard at everything we do. And if we're working like we're working for Jesus, we're working hard, right? So he's looking at that viewpoint. He's looking at it as like we should always be looking to bless people, which if you combine the two together, neither one of us are wrong, right? And they both kind of go together, because if you work hard, if you're working for Jesus, you're always looking to bless someone as you're working hard, and you're working to do Jesus. So the two of them work together, so neither one of them are wrong. Neither one of us are wrong, right? So this is just like biblically, like a standpoint that, you got to work hard. You got to look to bless people. You got to be working day and night, working very hard and pushing through. Don't let things get in your way. Then we're going to go to Deuteronomy 8:10, which I love Deuteronomy. Or wait, it's not 8:10. I'm sorry. It's 8:17 and 18. I'm sorry. So Deuteronomy 8:17 and 18. You may say to yourself, my power and strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce it. So all of our work comes from who? Look, see how like this is 3 verses right here. Actually 4 if you put in from the morning to night. They just encourage us to be working. Work. Get a job. Work. Which abilities to produce wealth, and so confirms this covenant which he swore to our ancestors as of today. Okay, we're supposed to be working. And our work comes from who? The Lord. How? He blessed us with the ability. He gave us the hands, the arms, the legs, and those that don't even have those. Like, I've seen them overcome it and work. So, like, he gave us the ability to do this, right? And he gives us the power to make wealth. Power. Repeat after me. Put it in the comments. Power. Power. Just in case you don't know how to spell it. Power. So he gives it to us. Isn't that amazing? Like, our work comes from the Lord. We got to be doing it graciously. We got to be doing it with thanksgiving. We got to be content in all things. We got to be working as if we're working for Jesus. This is just so amazing. I just love when things come to light and all fall together in place. So if the enemy's attacking your finances and attacking you financially, guess what? It's your fault. You're not doing something right. One thing, God gives us the power, so we should be doing it right? He gives us ability, and he blesses us. So it should be coming from him. The other thing is, if we're working each day as if we're working for him and we're blessing people, then we shouldn't be being attacked because we're blessing people, right? We always say, like, at the river, if you're having a financial hard time or if you need money, what do? You give and you pray. You give and you pray. That's like giving and praying. Like, we got to be good stewards. Like, bless people. Stay in prayer. Stay in your word. Stay like, these are all going together. And I did a teaching on this, a couple of them during the fast too. So don't just hear this. Like, we got to live it. Like, you got to listen. This is why I keep saying it. Because sometimes, like, yeah, some of us hear this stuff one time and we're like, we're good and we got it down and we're praying and we're giving and we're working hard and we're pleasing the Lord. And some of us, we just got to hear it over and over and over and over again. So for those of us who got to hear it over and over and over again, here it is. Like, live it. Don't just hear it. Live it. And then there's other of us, we just like hearing it over and over again. And sometimes we just hear different things with it. So it's great all in all, right? We're just going to do it over because we're focusing on our finances, our spiritual health, and we're spiritually, physically, and financially. So here we are. And we're going over this. I touched on the other day, a couple of days ago, I think our last one was physical and water. And then I taught you how to do homesteading, how to make toothpaste, which is like keeping you financially and physically healthy because you're not putting junk in your body and you're using less money to buy toothpaste. So, and you're using less money because you're able to work, because you're not missing work, because you're healthier and you don't have to go to the doctor and pay him and pay for a prescription. So these are all going together. Like, just ride the storm out if you think it's boring and you're like, why is she saying the same stuff over? Because it's not really the same stuff over. It's just the same, it's on the same lines, the three things. So, and the other reason I'm doing this is there's such a spirit of poverty on so many people, especially in Newcastle. Like, Newcastle has this spirit of poverty and fear, and it's just, it grosses me out. It really does, and it saddens me at the same time because I know there's so much more for people. If you would just get rid of that fear and just get rid of that spirit of poverty, because it's literally right now, it's just taking from you. It's keeping you from giving your 10%. It's keeping you from blessing others. It's keeping you from walking in the way the Lord wants you to. It's keeping you from giving your 10%. And, only 20% of Americans give 10%, which means 80% are missing out on blessing. So when you give, you reap a harvest and you get a blessing. And we're going to get there. But just hang tight for a minute. So this spirit of... It grosses me out. It really does. And I'm trying to break it, and I'm trying to break it in the church and all those that are listening, and places that you go to that have the spirit of poverty, have the spirit of fear, but you can just see it. Like, it's not just that you can see it. It's like they're unhealthy and they're living in sick, and they're living in lack, and third world countries have a spirit of poverty around them, and we don't want that spirit of poverty around us like we're a third world country, right? Because they lack, because they can't give, because they're afraid to, and the two go together. And look at like India, and when I went to Africa, and those people, they just send you messages all day begging you for money. Like, you're going to beg me for money? Live biblically. Go get a job. And some of them do work very hard over there. Don't get me wrong. but they don't know how to give. They really don't. Like, they are so afraid to give because they're living in poverty, even those that know how to work hard. So we need to know how to work hard, and we need to know how to give. And we need to break the spirit of poverty. We need to break the spirit of fear. We need to know it's okay to give. Like, God's got your back, and He's going to watch over you. And that's one of the things we learn. If you fast, if you pray, if you give, God's got your back. So don't like run and hide for a moment and think like, okay, I'm not going to give because I'm so afraid that I'm not going to eat. You're going to eat because you gave. Like, it just happens that way. It's like the more you give, the more it comes back, pressed down, shaken, and overflowing. Even today, like, we came back. Somebody gave him back muffins for the church and some eggs. So, like, the more you give, the more you come back. I'll give an example of a testimony that Rick and I didn't bring out of the church this week. It's something we did last week. And we do things around the neighborhood, and we do things for people that we don't often tell or share you guys. There's times that I make food and I go and give it out to a few of the people that don't normally come to the church because of health concerns, or like they're just not in good health right now. So every once in a while, I'll make food and I'll just give it to them or take it to them. And a lot of people don't know that. And we're not here to like say, hey guys, like look at me or look at what we're doing. So sometimes we do things and we just don't say anything. But last week, and I felt in my spirit, like, I told Pastor Rick, I'm like, you know, the meat guys, they're taking down a couple loads of stuff down to the hurricane victims, and they had a list. And I was reading that list, and I was reading what other people down there said they needed. And we have friends that went down and came back and told us what we needed. And I'm like, they don't have any tarps on there. I was like, and I really felt in my spirit that they needed some tarps. I'm like, I feel like we need to just go and spend X amount of money on some tarps and send them down there, because you can use tarps for so much. And you can cover, it's so cold right now, like they could literally cover their tent with it or put it underneath their tent, and it keeps the heat in, which is great. But you could use it for other things, like you could pull wood on it and pull things, and there's just so much you can use a tarp for. And you could even make a tent out of it, and or whatever. There's so many uses. There's more uses out of that tarp than there is probably some of the stuff that they were taking down there, because they were taking propane bottles and stuff. And yeah, it's going to give them heat, but just for a little bit. That tarp's going to lock the heat into their tent so that it stays in there longer, especially the heat that they took down there. So knowing that, you know, I research this stuff and I'm all about survival and, you know, prepping and just always being prepared for whatever might come, I knew how important tarps were. So I told Pastor Rick, and he went and picked him up, because it was like a time crunch, and there's no way he could have picked me up, even though I wanted to play a part. And he forgot to get a picture, and I forgot to tell him. But anyhow, he went and got this pictures, and he spent this X amount of money. I'm not going to say how much it is, okay? I'll tell you it starts with a 1. And it wasn't $10. And because I discovered that there's only a couple tarps that you could buy for $10 now, which I didn't know, because I thought we were going to get like this mass quantity in my head. Like, I'm like, yeah, all these people are going to get tarps. There weren't that many, guys, because you buy a tarp and you're like, whoa, inflation just hit. But anyhow, we went and spent this X amount that I felt in my spirit that the Lord told me. And I felt this in my spirit during the fast, and I just kept forgetting to tell Pastor Rick, and every opportunity I went to, like somebody was around, or like phone rang or something happened. So anyhow, I told him finally, and so he was like, okay, I'll do it. You feel it in your spirit. He didn't even question it, because he knew, like, he felt it in my spirit. And so we try not, if we feel it in our spirit to give, we don't ever question. So long story short, the same day we got a check in the mail for double of what we spent on them tarps. Double. Remember, last year was the year of double. This just proves, like, my double thing. Like, it really was double. So we got a check, and it was twice the amount of what we spent. So it was double. We got how much we spent back as an offering, plus a little bit more. So it's great, because we needed it anyways for a bill. So it was great. We didn't have enough to pay the bill, but we had enough to sow, and now we have enough for the bill. So it was awesome how that worked, because what I gave came back double. So God multiplies everything. He is a God who multiplies. Just remember that. That's why we love him. But we're accountable for our actions. So like when we hear something like that and God tells us to do that and we don't, guess what? We're not under curses anymore, but once you learn about blessing and curses, you get it down. That, like if you listen to God, we're all under blessings, because we are under blessings. But if we feel like our finances are being attacked, it's because we're not a good steward. We're not listening to the Lord. And we need to be accountable for that. So like, where aren't you listening? What aren't you doing? Are you not tithing? Are you not budgeting? Are you not listening when he tells you to bless somebody? Like, what's wrong? There's a hold up somewhere. The other thing is too, are you working? Or are you just sitting there playing video games? What are you doing in your spare time? I have very, very little spare time. Like Pastor Rick's always like, do you want to watch a movie? I'm like, oh no, like let's kill the social media. Let's do a video. Like, no, like, let's do some flyers, or like, no, like, let's call this person, or check in with this person, or let's read our Bible. So like, I'm very much like, I don't have time for the world at all. I just don't. So where are you applying your time? Like, what are you doing? Are you diving into the Lord? Are you praying? Are you fasting? Are you giving? Are you reading your word? Are you praising God? Because you know where the gifts manifest is with praise and worship. So are you praising and worship? Because that's where you're going to hear things. That's where your prophecy is going to come. That's where your wisdom and knowledge are going to come. That's where you're speaking in tongues. Like, so be accountable. What are you doing with your time, your spare time? Are you working? Are you giving? Are you tithing? Are you reading your word? Are you praising? You worship? When the enemy attacks you, are you praising? You worshiping? You got to think about this. So we got to be accountable. We got to tithe. We got to give to others. We got to work hard. So just remember, and you got to sow into somewhere good. Like when you put a seed, when you come up to our altars and you place that seed into the bucket, right? You're placing a seed into it. Well, that bucket is a seed. And once that seed gets planted, we take that seed, we pray over it, and yes, we pay the bills, but we put it in other areas, like I just told you. Like we sent some tarps down to North Carolina. We do other things too. Like how many people do we feed breakfast on a Sunday? And I just told you, like we go to and drop food off. Today even I made some food for somebody that deserved it. But all in all, like sometimes like when people give us food, I don't always hand it out. Like I make stuff, multiply it, because God's got a multiplication, and feed you guys. Sometimes I feed people that are here. Sometimes I feed people that are volunteering. And other times it goes outside the church. Like, because if you get food that's given to you and you cook it, then it multiplies. And yeah, we add a little bit to it. So God's a God that multiplies. So what are you doing with your seeds? Like, what are you doing with what God gives you? So when you put that money into the bucket, you give something to church, like your first fruits. Like maybe you're like, here, this is out of my garden. And then Pastor Randy makes something, and then the whole neighborhood's getting fed. You're planting a seed in that bucket, right? And it grows and it multiplies. And I'm using this food as an illustration because it's easier than to see where the money goes. So that seed goes to other people to help other people. It goes to the church to help the church go. Because if the church isn't going and people can't come in these doors, then we can't feed them. We can't let people come here and get warm when they're cold. Sometimes the kids are walking home from school and they just stop here randomly just to get warm because they're walking from school and they're cold. It happens. Like this building's used for so many things. We have people just stop here randomly and like, hey, can you pray over me? Our doors can't be open if you guys aren't sowing seeds. So when you plant that money into the bucket, you're sowing a seed. And you're sowing it into good soil. We try giving you examples and letting you guys know what we're doing so you're aware of this. But that seed grows and it multiplies because we don't want to just be the person putting our money into the bucket. We want to be the person sitting there with the bucket, handing it out. Someone gave me a vision that they had, a dream that they've had over and over again, that God's shown them that they're going to be at this one place. And actually, like after they told me, it's like an outreach. And they're just standing there handing money out of the bucket. Like, is that not amazing? Like, so do you want to be putting your money in the bucket, or do you want to be the one handing the blessings out of the bucket? I mean, you got to be both, but come on now. Like, I want to give. Because when I give, it comes back pressed down. Like, you can't outgive God. He multiplies everything. I'm trying to get this down. So stand by it with giving, because he multiplies. Let's read Matthew 7:12 real quick. 7:12 is, so in everything do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and prophets. So when we give, like, whatever we do, whatever we sow, it comes back. Part of another person's testimony, part of this one person's testimony that I have coming tomorrow, that I told you, like, they're not just giving like their money, and they fasted, and they've been praying, and they're reading the word, and they're working hard. Like, they got a job, they're working, they are constantly volunteering at the church. Like, they've helped Pastor Rick today. So like, when you're giving your time, your money, your efforts, your and you're sowing, and you're doing everything you're supposed to, like, things happen in your life. And I don't want to spill the beans, I'm not going to say what happened, but this person also like sows into the nursing home, and something big happened today to a relative, or yesterday to a relative of theirs who's in the nursing home. And you know why? Because they're sowing into other people in the nursing home. It's amazing how God works. Like, so when you sow in, it comes back pressed down, and that's a family member. And there's like nothing more joyful or more exciting than having a family member saved that's in the nursing home, because you know you're going to spend eternal life with them. And yeah, I spilled the beans a little bit, but you can hear the whole story. They actually like sow into other people, and there's been so many souls saved. This month alone, we've had 6 souls saved from the nursing home. 6. I believe it was 6. I try keeping a good count of that. And I wasn't keeping it separated. I was just adding it to our soul count. And I recently started keeping it separate. And I think it's 6 for the month. So like, that person was there and serving when we did that. And now they have a family member who's saved and going to heaven, that they're going to get to spend eternity with. Like, there's nothing better than that. There's no better feeling. They also sow their money in, and like, Pastor Rick went to the nursing home, and like, when you sow your money in, like, this is the things we do. Like, we go into the nursing homes, and it gives us the ability to do this, because you're sowing your time into us, you're sowing your prayers into us, you're sowing your love and your encouraging words, and we appreciate each and everything all of you do, whether it's like serving at the church, or tithing your time in, or praying for us, or tithing your money in. Like, all this comes to good fruit, and I hope you see this, and I hope you see how God's working and how amazing he is. And we just gotta sow into him, and sow our time and our money and our effort, and how amazing he is. And I'm just so excited for what he's doing in this ministry, in each of your lives, and even in mine and Pastor Rick's lives, because what you do for others, like, God does for you, and it's amazing. And I hope you're as excited as I am, and I hope you keep praying, and I hope you stay in your word, and I hope you keep finding ways to bless and people from morning to night, and sow your time wisely, and work from morning to night as if you're working for the Lord, and continue to tithe, and learn to budget, and all this. And it's just so amazing. And I hope you just press into him and just let God do a mighty work. And speaking of tithing and budgeting and stewardship, and this is just one of the things we're going to learn in February when we have these classes, and this is just the beginning. They actually might roll over to more classes, and if they do, I'm actually thinking about if we do multiple, and I'm thinking of, and I'm praying. I'm not just praying on this. Actually, God laid it on my heart. I just gotta ask Pastor Rick if it's okay with him, because I like running things by him, and he does the same with me. But there might be a gift if you go to more than one class, and we'll see. So let's see what God says and what we're gonna do. But and if there's gonna be another class, but it's exciting because when you start walking in biblical principles and you budget and you sort your money, your time, and everything correctly, like God just does amazing things in your life. And this is just to encourage you to sign up for one of those classes that are actually in February. I'm going to put a link down. I have a date in there. That's not official. It might change the date and the time, but I had to put it in there for the link. But I'm going to put a link down in the description, and that link is actually going to give you a way to sign up for the classes for the budgeting and the stewardship, and what God says in the Bible about his money, because he talks about it quite a bit, and people want to blow it off and not take it serious, or they're like, oh, you're just speaking the prosperity, that stuff's not right. No, we got to speak all the Bible. We speak righteousness sometimes too, and there's many times I tell you, quit it, knock it off, like don't do that. We speak righteousness. We speak of the gifts of the prophet. We speak in tongues. Like we're trying to do it all. Blessings, curses, like demons, like righteousness. Like there's so much in there. Like we try getting it all. It's just a lot. If you pay attention, we're not just focusing on one thing or three things or two or three. Right now, yeah, I've been focusing more on these three, but there's more. So I'm gonna invite you to those classes. And make sure that you come join us, because there might be a free gift involved, and you are going to learn something. Even though you think you know everything about stewardship, there's always more to learn. Trust me, I'm really diving into learning some new stuff myself to teach you guys, and it's going to have fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to sow in, and we're going to have some peace of mind, because we're going to learn when you budget and you live and your money according to God's way, you don't have fear, and you get out of that spirit of fear and poverty, and you live in a peace of mind. So I hope you guys can join us. One other way you can sow into us, which is a great way to sow into us, I told you your prayers and your encouraging words that so many of you have given us since the beginning. We thank you, and your tithing and you coming and sowing into the church and helping us out. So you guys are always helping. We thank you, and we actually had another person, a couple more people step up, and it's just great, because every time someone opens up to do something, don't worry, Pastor Rick and I get pulled somewhere else and something else comes about, but it does help us so that we can spend some more time with the Lord, and to make sure we invest our time wisely into things like stewardship and learning and building ourselves up. So when we build you up, we're doing it properly and correctly. If we're not in our word, and if we're not reading books, and if we're not in prayer, and if we're not fasting, then we're not teaching you properly. So we got to keep ourselves built up, and all that you guys do, whether it's tithing or just helping around the church, really it helps Pastor Rick and I, so that we can we're grounded and rooted, so that we can help you stay grounded and rooted. It's a big circle. So come join in our circle. One other way you can join in our circle is you can share this video. It's a big help. You guys have no idea. You can share our YouTube. Ask your friends to join. Ask them to join our Facebook and our Instagram. Like you having your friends and family join our social media is so much help, and it's you sowing in and tithing. So if you already sow into a church, if you already go to a church, that's awesome. Please share our information in our church. If you were saved under our church, you should be tithing. You should be giving your money into our church. If you get some of our messages and listen to these, if you tie to another church, you should be sending a small offering, whether it's $5, $10, or just like or doing or spending time, or helping, or coming and investing your time. Like, sow into those that are sowing into you. If we're not, there's 3 different ministries that we get sown into, so we give to those 3 ministries. You don't have to stick with one. And don't forget those who have found salvation and build you up and encourage you and help you when you need it. You should be sowing into us somehow, or your other ministries. So don't forget the other ones that sow into you either. So sow in. Another way you can do that is make sure you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube, share this video, share our YouTube, hit the notification button, and comment. These things are such a big help, and guess what? They cost very little. They cost no money, very little time, and they keep you on the Ecclesiastes the verse of how you can be a blessing from morning to night, from 11:6, Ecclesiastic 11:6. You're being a blessing to us, and the Lord's going to bless you back because you're taking your time from morning to night to be a blessing. So please do that now, and like, share, and encourage your friends. Say, hey, like, Pastor Randy does all these videos, and you guys need to hear it. She does any of your friends that like homesteading, send them over. Anybody that just can't get out of the house, send them our YouTube so they can watch our live services. Like, there's so much you can do. You can sow into other people. I just did a post on our Facebook how Pastor Rick was just posting something on Facebook, and somebody's now like diving into the Lord, like just from a simple Facebook. If you guys share our Facebooks and have people join, just think of all the people we can reach, and just think that's your seed. That's your seed you're sowing in because you shared it and that person joined and they might get saved. So it's your crown in heaven. You're going to reap the harvest. Like, this is so exciting. See how these things go? Like, sowing and reaping, it's so exciting. So make sure you share. It's so important because it's your harvest when somebody comes to know Jesus. It's your harvest when somebody decides to sow into the kingdom in their time and their effort. It's your harvest that you are reaping. So sow in. It's not always about putting into that bucket. So come help us today and do everything you can for the kingdom. And we'll stay in touch, and hopefully you'll be here tomorrow, and we'll see some of the tests. Hopefully you'll come tomorrow and see the testimony that we're going to share. And I hope you're enjoying this tree because it's coming down this week. I'm so sad. I love this tree. I love the little butterflies. Butterflies are one of my favorites, and they're pink. And I just love the colors of the silver and the pink. And I almost wanted to leave this one up for Valentine's Day. I'm debating. I might. If you do, don't knock me. It's pink, so I can get away with it, right? And maybe we'll just do this whole area of Valentine's Day. I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed the tree as much as I did, because there's just something about Christmas trees, and I think it's because I love nature so much, and I love the outdoors, and I love how God gave us everything, and I know that every tree that we need to sow into trees, because trees sow into us by giving. Every tree lets 4 people have oxygen. So I love nature. I love how God designed it, and I love just seeing it, and it's been cold out, so it's nature being inside is just lovely. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If it's still here, I hope you enjoy it too. So love you all. Talk to you later. Have a blessed week and be a blessing to others. We'll talk more about this later.